In today's video, I'm revealing why retiring at age 65 might be one of the biggest mistakes that you can make for your health, your longevity, and for your happiness. We've all grown up hearing the same exact story. Work hard for 40 years, retire when you're 65, and then you can finally slow down and enjoy your life. But what if that timeline is completely backwards? Retiring at 65 isn't some sacred milestone. It's a societal norm that was built decades ago, and it really hasn't adapted to modern realities that we live with now. The truth is this: many people who retire at age 65 or even later, they end up spending their first few years of retirement fighting health issues or recovering from the stress of decades of nonstop work. Meanwhile, those who retire earlier, say 55 to 60, they often enjoy a much longer and healthier period of life after their working career. That's exactly why I'm making this video for you today, to break down this outdated mindset around retiring at age 65, to show you why the traditional model might not be working in today's world, and to introduce to you a smarter, more human-centered way to plan for your retirement. This is one that puts your health, your happiness, and your goals first and foremost. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about what happens around the age of 65. In countries like Japan, Italy, and Switzerland, studies show that major health issues, heart disease, cancer, and chronic kidney conditions begin ramping up in people in their early 70s. That's right around the time that most people in the United States are finally stepping into retirement. But what's the problem with this? In the United States, those same conditions begin often way earlier, around the age of 66. Just let that sink in here for a minute. You've worked your entire life, aiming to retire at the age of 65, only to get there right when your health is already declining. That's not freedom, that's a ticking clock. Meanwhile, those who step away from the workforce earlier, in your mid-50s to late 50s, they often enjoy a much healthier and more active decade of retirement from what I've seen with the clients that I've worked with. They aren't starting their retirement with a trip to the doctor. They're starting it with energy, adventure, and purpose. So why does this happen? Because your late 50s and your early 60s are typically some of the most physically and mentally demanding years of your entire career. Stress levels are high, recovery time is slower, and all that pressure takes a toll on you. We've been led to believe that the longer we work, the more secure we'll be. But we rarely talk about the cost, the physical and mental price of pushing through those final years. The truth is this: working later doesn't guarantee a longer or even a better life. In fact, it often cuts into the very years that could have been the most vibrant for you. So why do people still aim for age 65 to retire? Why is this such a magical number? Because it's what society has told us to do for many years. Go to school, get a job, work until you're 65, and then retire. It's the script we've all been handed. It was written decades ago when life expectancy was way different than it is today. Healthcare was obviously different, and the pace of life was way slower. Times have changed. People are dealing with more stress than ever before. Yet we still follow a retirement plan that was built for a completely different world. This model, it doesn't account for your health. It doesn't factor in your personal goals, your energy, or your life's vision. It's just a date on the calendar that everyone blindly accepts. And I think it's extremely dangerous. When we follow outdated cultural scripts without questioning them, we end up sacrificing our most active years, the years when we could be building memories, traveling with your family, and living life to its fullest. This is all for an ideal that no longer makes sense. Here's the real question you should ask yourself: what's the point of building wealth if you don't have the time or the health to enjoy it? For too long, we've measured retirement success by account balances and portfolio sizes. But those numbers, they mean nothing if you're too tired, too sick, or too burned out to live the life that you've dreamed of. Your most vibrant years, your most mobile, energetic, and adventurous years are typically the first 5 to 10 years after you leave work. We refer to those as your go-go years. If you wait too long, you risk missing that window completely. Now, early retirement doesn't mean you should have a reckless retirement. It means you're planning around your health, your lifestyle, and your goals, not just the balance of your investment accounts. So now that you understand why timing is everything in retirement, take the next step for me. I want you to fill out the short questionnaire in the description of this video. And after you do that, I'll personally send you a customized video breaking down your exact situation, and I'll show you how you can build a retirement plan that protects your health, supports your lifestyle, and gets you there sooner than you thought possible. Now, for many people, the idea of retiring earlier raises a way different concern. What will I even do with myself at that point in time? And this fear is real. A lot of professionals, especially high achievers, They struggle with the loss of structure and purpose when they stop working. So what's the mistake that most people make? They go from full throttle to full stop. Now that's a recipe from what I've seen for an identity crisis in retirement. Instead, think of retirement as a runway, not a cliff. Reduce your hours, take a consulting role, start a project or a side business, volunteer more. You need to create space to rest, but also remain engaged at the same time. This gradual transition that I've helped hundreds of clients through, it protects your health, it gives you time to build new habits, and it lets you adjust mentally and emotionally, all while still maintaining some income and routine inside of your lifestyle. I talk about this extensively in my Red Zone Retirement Planning book. Just comment book below and I'll happily send you out a free copy for yourself to enjoy. And while you're transitioning into that retirement phase, it's the perfect time to build the foundation for a long, healthy retirement. You don't need to have a six-pack here or run a marathon every month, but consistent habits, walking more, cutting out sugar, managing your stress, they all add up. A little discipline in your 50s can give you maybe an extra 20 years of freedom in your 60s and 70s. It's all about choosing your hard. Is it harder to build these habits now or to lose your independence later? Optimizing your health, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. And finally here, you don't have to figure all of this out on your own. Most people get really overwhelmed by retirement because they're doing it all themselves and it's so complex. Just between taxes, Social Security, healthcare, income planning, your retirement timelines, your needs and your wants. You don't have to be an expert in all of these things to retire in the right way. You just need the right guide to show you how to do it. That's why we've built the Red Zone Retirement Planning process. This process is designed to help you define your dream life, clarify your goals, and build your timeline, and then determine how much income you actually need to retire, not just how big your retirement account balances need to be, because retirement is about income, not about assets. So exactly how can you retire earlier without sacrificing financial security or your peace of mind? This is exactly what our Red Zone Retirement Planning process is built for. We don't start with numbers. We start with your life. So step one is your vision. This is where we have a conversation with you and we ask, and you should be asking yourself this if you're planning on your own. What do you want your life to look like when you're no longer working full time? Where do you want to live? How do you want to spend your time? What relationships, hobbies, or goals have been put on the back burner for too long and you now want to start enjoying those things? You see, we don't define retirement by what you're leaving. We define it by what you're stepping into. This is a big mental shift in mindset, and this is what creates clarity for our clients and energy for you for what comes in the next phase of your life. This should be an exciting time. And then step two, it's translating that vision into real numbers for you. It's one thing to dream, but it's another to fund that dream. This is a step where we would determine what this lifestyle costs you every year, every month. For the long term, how do your phases transition for you in your retirement from the go-go years to the no-go years? How much guaranteed income do you need to support this lifestyle comfortably? How do we balance flexibility and security for you so you don't feel restricted or anxious about the future? This step is extremely critical because most people, from what I've seen, overestimate what they need for retirement and they underestimate what they already have. Retirement is not about having the biggest number. It's about having the right amount of income flowing in at the right time to support the lifestyle that you want. Now, step three is actually building the roadmap for you to get there. This is where the strategy comes into play. Together with our clients, we design a timeline and a game plan that connects where they are today with the retirement that they want to live in the future. This includes a lot of things, but some of them are gradual work reduction phases. And I talked about this already, but I love the idea of that phased retirement. We also need to have Social Security planning inside of here, tax minimization strategies, healthcare coverage transitions, asset to income conversion strategies, and more importantly, it's all personalized to your situation. There's no cookie cutter approach here because no two people have the same goals, the same fears, or the same vision of their retirement future. So why would your plan look like everybody else's planned? And the result is this. When you go through our Red Zone retirement planning process, you walk away with a clear picture of when you can realistically retire without ever having to work a day longer than you want to, and with the confidence that your plan supports both your health and your wealth for the long term. When you prioritize your well-being alongside your finances, retirement planning becomes something so empowering to you, not something that you should be fearing. You're not working towards an age, you're working towards a life that you want. And that makes all the difference with our process. You don't have to retire at the age of 65. That timeline was built for a different world, not for your health, your goals, or your life. With the right plan, you can retire earlier on your own terms without sacrificing confidence or security. That's what the Red Zone retirement planning process is all about. So if you're ready to find out if you can truly retire, I want you to fill out the questionnaire in the description of this video below. I'll then send you a personalized video showing you exactly how you can get there. Don't wait for permission. Start building your retirement on your own timeline. I'll see you on the next video.